What's going on, everybody? It's Sean O'Connell, Managing Director here at CinemaBlend, and as you know, I'm running my way through all the episodes of Game of Thrones before we get to the beginning of Season 8, and I've worked my way up to Episode 3 of Season 6. This one's called Oathbreaker, which sounds pretty ominous because I believe the oath, when we were talking about the sword, was referring to Brienne's oath to protect the Stark girls, and of course she named her sword Oathkeeper. And so I'm wondering if either something with her and Sansa is going to get broken or the sword itself might get broken. But we have more important things to get to, including the resurrection of Jon Snow. So let's start there by diving right into this new episode of Game of Thrones. And of course, you're going to want to follow along on this entire journey by hitting subscribe, turning on your notifications, and because it's an evening and we're working to get through the Thrones marathon, it's wine time, right? So pour yourself a glass. Join me as I drink through this episode of Game of Thrones, which so far, Season 6 has been fantastic, and I'm hoping that this one continues the marathon, because it's been really good so far. Davos, look what you've conjured. Zombie Jon Snow. I would have so many questions.
Okay, easy.
She's like, what? It worked?
Ollie,
Oh yeah, Ollie, the last one.
you put a knife in my heart.
The lady brought you back.
With dark magics.
After they stabbed you, after you died, where did you go? What did you see?
Nothing. There was nothing at all.
No
The Lord
gods.
let you come back for a reason.
No afterlife.
Stannis was not the prince who was promised, but someone has to be.
I did what I thought was right, and I got murdered for it. And now I'm back. Why?
I don't know. Maybe we'll never know. What does it matter?
It's kind of important.
I failed.
Good. Now go fail again.
Wow. What a powerful moment. I have chills. That's incredible. Jon Snow.
They think you're some kind of god. The man who returned from the dead.
I'm not a god.
I know that. I saw your pecker. What kind of god would have a pecker that small?
Your eyes are still brown. Is that still you in there?
I don't think so.
My father's... Well, my father, but my mother's a kind woman and my sister's lovely. They'll take care of you both.
Wherever you go, I go too. That's what you said.
Which brings up a good point, Sam.
That's my father.
The man beside him is Howland Reed, Mira's father.
Oh.
Sir Arthur Dane.
The sword of the morning.
Father said he was the best swordsman he ever saw.
I love seeing the history this way.
Where's my sister?
It's going to come down to him versus Ned. And the problem is, we know Ned survives. Like, Ned's not going to die, so he's going to get be-netted later.
He's better than my father.
Far better.
My father beat him.
Did he?
No, he did. Heard the story 1,000 times. He stabbed him in the back. What's in the tower?
That's enough for one day. We'll visit again another time.
I want to see where he's going.
Time to go.
Father!
God, I want Benioff and Weiss to do a Star Wars story. They would be able to take the time to develop a brilliant Star Wars story.
He heard me.
Maybe he heard the wind.
He heard me.
The past is already written. The ink is dry.
What's in that tower? I want to go back there.
I've told you many times. Stay too long where you don't belong, and you will never return.
I don't want to be you.
I don't blame you. You won't be here forever. You won't be an old man in a tree. But before you leave, you must learn
Learn what?
everything.
Shirakumun Khali Veshvena. Shilo meme Vasira Raesheres Yarun Kisi.
Khalicia Dosh Khalien.
Sek Irgele Shiti Astriveri Khalimai. Bosmaria Vos. Yer Yome Raesheser. Ay Khalisari Khalarun Veshvena. Moria Vokari. Masfin Vais. Bemrasoy. Ma Maurice Vasque Khalisi Haladro. Hayoran Makashun. Vasque Ajinon.
If the Unsullied march off to reconquer Astapor and Yonkai, who will remain to defend the free people of Marine?
If we do not fight them, how can we stop them?
We cannot. The Masters speak only one language. They spoke it to me for many years. I know it better than my mother tongue. If we want them to hear us, we must speak it back to them. May it be the last thing they ever hear.
You may be right.
So we will fight them?
Possibly.
Possibly.
It's a conversation. Tell me, can you little birds get a message to the good masters of Astapor, the wise masters of Yonkai, and the benevolent enslavers of Atlantis?
Of course. Men can be fickle, but birds I always trust.
Now remember, if any of your friends like sweets or need help, they can always come to me. All I need in return are whispers.
Barris's little birds.
Your little birds now, Your Grace.
My mother would like to see her daughter's final resting place.
I'm sorry, Your Grace. That's not possible. Not yet.
When will it be possible?
When she's fully atoned for her sins.
You cut off her hair and marched her naked through the streets in front of the whole city. That wasn't a full atonement.
No. She must stand trial before 7 septons. There's so much good in all of us. The best we can do is to help each other bring it out.
Don't listen, Tommen.
Who else was on Arya Stark's funny little list?
Cersei Lannister. Gregor Clegane. Walder Frey.
You.
That's a short list.
Girl, you're gonna be on her list. Very soon. This storyline needs a payoff. Don't. People die.
If a girl is truly no one, she has nothing to fear. Who are you?
No one.
Why have you come to Winterfell, Lord Umber?
The bastard Jon Snow led an army of wildlings past the wall. I like fighting wildlings. Been doing it all my life. But there are too many of them for us to beat back alone. I've got a gift for you.
A girl, I hope. I prefer redheads.
A girl? Aye. A wild one. And a boy. Nice and young. The way Karstark likes them.
Oh boy. Rickon.
Who's this?
Rickon Stark.
Oh boy.
How do I know that's Rickon Stark?
No.
Welcome home, Lord Stark.
You treasonous fox.
If you have any last words, now is the time. You shouldn't be alive. It's not right. Neither was killing me.
I had a choice, Lord Commander. Betray you, or betray the Night's Watch. You brought an army of wildlings into our lands, an army of murderers and raiders. If I had to do it all over, knowing where I'd end up, I pray I'd make the right choice again.
I'd have punched him in the nutsack, too. Yeah. Goodbye, Ollie. Watch, John's gonna show them mercy. That time he did it.
What do you want me to do with this?
Wear it. Burn it. Whatever you want. You have Castle Black. My watch is ended.
Wow. Wow. Well, the Oathbreaker in this sense turns out to be Jon Snow, who leaves the Night's Watch, which people don't normally do, but Jon's tenure on the Night's Watch has been anything but ordinary. He finally hangs the people who were responsible for his death. Now that he's back, Sir Alistair gives him essentially saying, look, hey, if I had a chance, I'd do it again. Ollie doesn't even give him the last words, and Jon executes them all. And Jon leaves Castle Black after turning over the coat worn by the Lord Commander. And so Jon is off. And if I were to guess where Jon Snow were heading, I would say Winterfell, which is pretty good timing because Ramsay, declaring himself Warden of the North, has just been given Rickon Stark as a gift. And that's real bad for Rickon because, you know, Ramsay wants to eliminate anybody who's a potential threat to his reign. And he even killed his infant baby brother. Let's emphasize that. His infant baby brother. So obviously a legitimate Stark child, not just even a bastard like Jon Snow, but a legitimate Stark child. He's got to be in real danger. I say that Arya's training at this point now has just become exhausting. Like, it's become one of those subplots. And I'm not turning on Arya. Just like I've never turned on Dany, right? But like every once in a while, their subplots just don't... They string themselves along and they string themselves along and they get to a point where by any natural standards, they should have a payoff, right? And they haven't yet. And Arya's training, so she gets her sight back. Still won't say what her name is. Her name is still consistently no one, no matter how often she's asked. She takes a drink from the fountain that's been pretty much killing everybody, and it restores her sight. Now, where is that going to go? Lord if I know, right? Subplot has been going and going and going since last season, and so I don't really know where that's going to go. Varys learns out who's helping the Sons of the Harpy, and it turns out that it's everybody from Astapor, Yunkai, and Volantis, right? So if Meereen's going to go to war with everybody who's funding the Sons of the Harpy, they're going to have to wage war against everybody who Dany's taken over. So that's a pretty daunting task, and of course Dany's not even there to help them with this potential retaliation because she's under the... she's essentially imprisoned by the Dothraki, and she's at this new palace where the Khal widows are, and they don't seem like they're ready to let her leave. But she has to pass some type of a test. We go back to Bran, who is still studying under the three-eyed raven, Max von Sydow. Tremendous. And he's surfing the past. And he's seeing Ned Stark in his early days. And anytime we get to a scene where someone who we know is going to survive the storyline, someone who's going to be in a threat of danger but won't get killed in the story, instantly loses a little bit of tension. And I realize that's what I love about Thrones so much, is that all of these people who we've been watching in these different stories are new to us and we don't know where they're going to go. And that's why anytime Hollywood tries to do like a prequel of some sort, and they're focused on a hero who we know is going to be in stories further on down the line, they're never in any real danger, right? So I watched that scene with young Ned Stark battling that guy with swords, and I realized like he was never going to lose his life because we know Ned Stark to be available later, and we know how Ned Stark dies. And so that's a concern if Thrones ever decides that they want to do a prequel around any of these characters. And I think if they do a prequel, they're going to plan to do something like much, much earlier which would be a smart idea. Like, I would be intrigued in finding out that part of the story, but I don't want anything that's involving the characters that we know. I don't think that that's the way to go. Jon Stark coming back initially at the beginning of the episode, where he talked about how he saw nothing in the afterlife, and just him coming back to life was, I got chills. We caught up with Sam and Gilly briefly. She thinks they're heading to Old Town. They're actually going to go to Hornhill, where his family is, and Sam's going to put him up there. But essentially, we start with Jon coming back from the dead. We end with Jon officially leaving the Night's Watch with the powerful statement, "My watch has ended," which echoes, and now his watch has ended, which normally the Night's Watch people say when someone has died. Well, Jon died, right? He died, and he came back to life, but he's not gonna live that life. He's getting a second chance, and he's gonna do whatever he can to, I assume, help out the remaining members of his family. We are going to get into season 6, episode 4. So we all agree the Oathbreaker was Jon Snow, right? He's breaking his oath to the Night's Watch. He's free. He's on the go, and we'll see where he ends up going as season 6 rolls on. So go down, hit subscribe, turn on your notifications, and as we continue to roll through this run of episodes of Game of Thrones, every time we post a new video to CinemaBlend's YouTube page, you will be instantly notified and be able to play along with us as we continue to catch up before season 8 begins.